Now, for more on Iran, let's bring in military side. Aaron Cohen, Israeli special ops veteran, founder of Gideon, and Mike Sarraille, retired U.S. Navy SEAL. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Mike, let me begin with you, sir, if I may, and thank you for helping us, as you have in the past. A lot of people are writing, editorialists are writing, in the Wall Street Journal, for example, which is a pro-war newspaper, and there aren't many, but that's one of them, that it's absolutely essential that the U.S. Military Navy open up the Strait of Hormuz, that's absolutely life and death essential. I mean, I'd like to see the straits opened up too, but what is your view? What is your experience tells you here? What does your wisdom tell you on that point?
Well, here's the advice I would give President Trump. Strike him now. That'll open up the strait. They will not have the attention, the focus power to focus on the straits if we're hitting them on the mainland. And arguably, Larry, I could tell President Trump you should have struck him a week ago when we canceled the negotiations in Islamabad. Your previous guest said Board 2 and Board 3 diplomacy and economic warfare are working, but it's not reaching the intended effect. So strike them now. Let them feel the pain. We know they're in internal strife. Let's add accelerant to that dispute going on between the political class and the IRGC in Iran, and then see if they want to negotiate, understanding the reality of the situation, which they don't quite get at this point. So I push for strikes at this point.
Aaron Cohen, is it inevitable that there will be additional combat military strikes?
I don't think Trump wants to continue with combat operations. You asked about body language at the beginning of the last segment, which I was watching. Larry, here's where I'm at. Iran is not negotiating to resolve anything. They're buying time. Time for the pressure release, time to regroup. I agree with your guest. They're trying to build time to rebuild what they've already lost. So this ceasefire it means nothing to me. What I think is interesting is when you guys were covering the war powers piece, I want to hit that real quick. You cannot run one of the most significant real-world counterterrorism conflicts against the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, Larry, on a political clock. Those deadlines were designed for World War II. That's not what this is, Larry. This is a continuous, and your Navy SEAL guest, who I'm a fan of, Aaron Cohen, good to see you. He understands that this is a continuous counterterrorism pressure operation. This is not a war. However, it involves economic warfare, which Trump has been brilliant about. That naval piece in the strait. By the way, the Iranians don't control the strait, Larry. We've talked about that. They're out there with wave runners and jet skis. We've got naval dominance. We've got intelligence operations packages all working together. So the second you tell the Iranians, when your leverage expires, what are we doing here? And that's why I'm at with that. And so if Trump needs to crank this back up, dial it back up. Showtime. Put your finger on the neck again. Give him a couple of more high fives, and then let's talk again. That's where I'm at, Larry.
Well, these are very important points, and you both, have enormous wisdom and knowledge on this subject, and I do not. I'm a lowly reporter. But, I mean, Mike, come back to you on this. People are, I'm just, 3 weeks ago or so, you were on the show a couple of weeks ago. You were very kind. But we've had, a number of guests have said, we can open up the Strait of Hormuz. Our Navy is powerful, which of course it is, and they can do anything they want to do. And a lot of people expected the Strait, put it to you even more colloquially, they expected a line of oil super tankers by this time to be flowing through the Strait and onto Asia and the rest of the world. And oil and gasoline prices would be coming down, but it hadn't happened. There's almost no traffic getting through. So I think people are surprised at that. Now, you both are saying there are going to be military strikes, and that will finish the job, and that will lead to it. But you understand what I'm saying, Mike Sarraille? I'm not disagreeing with your point. I'm just saying a lot of people a few weeks ago were waiting for something that hasn't happened. And I just wonder what your view on that is.
My question is, to what degree are the straits closed? Or is it that the shipping companies, the insurers, and the captains of those vessels are too fearful at the potential cost to travel those maritime lanes. I don't think Iran poses as big a threat as the world believes, but to the Lloyds of London, they don't want to carry that cost. And Larry, I want to make one point to Aaron, also a big fan of yours. Here's where the Democrats are on the wrong side of history, and they've got to be careful. I always look at precedents when it comes to the War Power Act. You have Reagan that utilized it in 82, 83, went beyond the 60 days. You had Clinton that used it in 99 in Kosovo, went beyond the 60 days. You had Obama in 2011 in Libya that went beyond the 60 days. Two of them were Democratic presidents. So, for President Trump, he should continue the course. Now, if he needs it, given the Republican majority, go to Congress. Get a limited authorized use of military force, limited in scope, just to Iran. And that sort of is constitutional and statute cleanup, and it clears the path. But they're going to be arguing this for weeks, if not months. So Trump has the leeway in terms of time, in my opinion. He'll just feel the political pressure from the left.
Well, I think you're right about that. And by the way, the poll we were just looking at, which is a very good poll, shows America is with Trump on this war to far greater degree than almost anybody in the media expects. So you're spot on that. Aaron Cohen, take us out. 30, 40 seconds, please. Is it Karg Island or is it the mainland that gets hit?
I think Karg Island has got to always be on the table, Larry. And the reason why is because it turns out the lights. And from the deep intelligence side of how I'm sort of looking at this conflict, you turn out the lights, it's going to create cracks. It'll create the hinge point. You got 90 million Iranians, Larry, who are tired of these mullahs, sliding a couple 100,000 rifles. You let guys like Mike and some of Israel's teammates get in there, train up a faction of these dudes, let them take over this besiege. There's a bunch of 12-year-old kids, unpaid. Watch how quickly this thing will wrap up. Iran's misreading the moment. Don't mess with Trump. I think they're misreading the moment here, and I think there may be an escalation if needed. So let's see.
Yes, you know what? I agree with that. Iran is I mean, I don't know what they say. They say all these different things. It's like Baghdad Bob during the Iraq thing. But they are misleading it. And the economic fury, Scott Bessent, we had him on the show a couple nights ago, is hurting them more than they'll ever admit.
Right.
But outside sources are now pinpointing just how dire their straits are. I mean, they can't even pay the soldiers anymore.
Yeah, Larry, if there's no bread,
give them retirement.
If there's no bread, watch what happens.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
That's how revolutions are started. Gentlemen, thank you. Mike Sarraille, thank you. Aaron Cohen, first of all, thanks to both of your respective services to your countries, and thank you for coming on our show.